everybody. I'm Kate Richbourg, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about varying your routine. Now, I, like many of you watching, came to the jewelry world working with beads. You know, I'm known for my metal work, but beads are really my first love. And in the theme of what's going on this season, it's all about working out your jewelry. So today, I'm going to talk a little bit about getting some workouts under your belt so your beaded jewelry is going to be fantastic. So let's take a look. You know, what I'm going to share with you today is based on a class that I teach, that I started teaching very early on in my career. You know, as beaders, sometimes we get in a rut and we're not really sure what to do sometimes with those beads that are sitting in front of us on that bead board. So I'm going to share with you in this first segment how I start to make color palettes and work with color. So our warm-up today is taking a look at color and how to make it do just what you want it to do to make your pieces look fantastic. So let's take a look at what I've got on my board in front of me. This is a simple necklace, well, maybe not so simple, but a necklace that has a variety of colors in it. And you can see I've done some color blocking here with this piece. And it all comes together in a centerpiece here. Now, you know, sometimes when you start stringing, you get a little, I don't know, maybe frustrated or you're not sure where to begin. I tell my students and myself, find yourself a starting point. Maybe that starting point is what it's going to become. Maybe you're making a necklace or a bracelet for a friend or wedding jewelry, right? So maybe keep that in your mind as you start to pull your beads. But let's say that maybe it's a piece that you've had rolling around in your bead box that you're not really sure what to do with, and you can make it that your starting point. So you can see here, I have a couple of little found objects that I may rivet or do something with later on. I don't really have to know how this is going to go together. All I'm really focused on right now, you guys, is the color. So I've got this piece here. And I'm going to just start to bring in some beads that I think might work with it, or that I like. I have these big kind of chunky light blue pieces, and I like how the size of these beads and that kind of play off what will become this centerpiece. And then I start to throw in maybe some smaller beads. And I'm kind of really into this kind of weird green-brown color, so I'm going to throw in some small pieces here. You know, spacers, I can't say enough about having really good spacers in your piece, because that kind of, you know, it's like a little spice in what you've got going on. So now I look at this and I say, well, you know, I've got some big beads, I've got some small beads, I need something in the middle. So let me get some middle-sized or some midpoint beads here that are going to come in to this. Now, you know, I've pre-selected these beads so that everything kind of goes together. But when you're paletting, you guys, I mean, take a look at just this color mix that I have right here. See what happens when I take away that blue? It kind of goes flat a little, right? It needs something to perk it up. By adding that kind of really beautiful sky blue, I start to liven the palette up a little bit. Let me show you what would happen if I used maybe a different blue. And I have some kind of crystally blue bicones here. And see, we get a whole kind of different color mix there. But if I took those away, let's say that maybe I liked pinks and purples, which I do. See how if I threw those guys in, I can also see how that would kind of react and create my palette. So one other thing I wanted to mention, can you see how I do have some of these pieces, things like this, in a strand? You know what, you guys, when you are auditioning your beads, don't be afraid. Cut that strand. Look at, I just cut that strand and freed those beads right off of that string. Now I can really kind of see those beads in action and see how they work. I have a couple more things here that I might throw into this palette. But can you see how things are really starting to shape up a bit? Now don't fret. I know you're thinking, oh my gosh, Kate, this is just a soup of beads that's right in front of you. That's exactly what you want. Don't worry about what it's going to become or how you're going to string it together. We're going to tackle that in our next segment. So relax and don't worry about a thing. So get that color palette ready. And one last thing I wanted to mention before we move on is you can always do a little bit of a seed bead mix as well. Whenever I have extra seed beads left over from a project, I just put them together in a little tray like this, and then I have almost instant bead mix, and it usually always works. All right, you guys, that's our warm-up.